it comes under closure property. When I have three elements indirectly added, it comes under associative property. So, associative property being an extension of closure property and satisfying for natural numbers, indirectly satisfies for even the natural numbers under associativity. So, associative property holds under addition. Take any three numbers, add them as a plus b plus c and a plus b plus c, then associative property would satisfy both on the left hand side and the right hand side, thus making natural numbers holding the associative property under addition. The same is the case with whole numbers, where the associative property holds without any failure. Even the set of integers also holds for every integer taken into consideration. Even the set of rational numbers, which we already discussed in the previous case, also holds. And all the real numbers also hold the associativity property under addition. So we know that the identity under addition is 0. So that has already been discussed in the previous case. So using the additive identity 0, we will see if the existence of identity holds in natural numbers. Anyone? We can just make out with natural numbers. We can easily identify that 0 does not belong to n. Natural numbers start with 1, 2, 3 and until infinity. So 0 does not belong to n. Therefore, identity property does not hold in natural numbers. Therefore, n does not hold closure property. This is because 0 does not belong to n. But the same thing if you take under whole numbers, I identify that the whole numbers start with 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0 being part of whole numbers, identity exists and therefore identity property holds in. This does not hold, this holds. So W holds closure property under addition. What about integers? Do they form the existence of identity? Yes, because 0 belongs to Z. 0 also belongs to Q. 0 also belongs to R. So these three are identified under existence of identity. So identity holds So in case of natural numbers, the numbers start from 1, 2, 3 till infinity, and I identify that 0 is the additive identity in general case. But since 0 does not belong to natural numbers, n does not hold identity. Now, when I take the whole numbers, 0 is part of the whole numbers, therefore W holds identity, the identity element being 0. Even the case of integers, 0 belongs to integers, therefore identity holds even instead of integers. The same is the case of rational numbers, where 0 belongs to Q. So identity holds even in Q. And when I take the real numbers, yes, 0 belongs to R and identity holds in R. So this is how I understand the identity properties and the various sets holding the identity property. Now coming to the existence of inverse, let's start with natural numbers. We know that for inverse property in general to numbers is a plus minus a equal to 0, where 0 is the additive identity and including that minus a plus a should also be 0. So when I take a natural number, we will see whether inverse property holds. So clearly when I see this property, I don't find that natural numbers hold inverse property under addition. The reason being that if suppose I take a natural number say 3 belonging to n, then if a is referred to as 3 here, that implies minus a is minus 3, which does not belong to natural numbers. So every positive number do not have negative numbers instead of natural numbers. Therefore minus 3 does not belong to n under such that inverse property does not hold in natural numbers. So this is the case in natural numbers, and the failure is only because the positive numbers do not have negative numbers in set of natural numbers. The same is the case with whole numbers, because you take any whole number, the first and foremost whole number is 0, you don't have the negative numbers, therefore the whole numbers also does not hold the inverse property. But when I take the integers, integers do satisfy the the existence of inverse, because you have in integers both the negative numbers and the positive numbers. Therefore, you take any negative number and just find its additive identity, you get a positive number, and any positive number, find its additive identity, you get negative number. So it satisfies for all z. So z is nothing but so this being the set of all integers, therefore for all a belonging to z, there exists minus a belonging to z such that minus a plus a is 0 is a plus of minus a. This is the case which makes the set of integers hold inverse property. So in case of the set of numbers holding inverse property, natural numbers do not hold the inverse property, the whole numbers do not hold the inverse property, integers hold the inverse property, rational numbers hold the inverse property, because every positive rational numbers have equally the negative rational numbers, and real numbers also hold the inverse property. So the same is the case for all properties identified. So this is how I understand the inverse property. Now next, coming to the commutative property. Now take the natural numbers. The natural numbers have the commutative property holding, because you take any two numbers in any order of addition, it holds back the property. Say for example, I have 2 and 3 belonging to n. I don't have any rule that I should be adding them in order. It is irrespective of order that I add two numbers. 2 plus 3 is 3 plus 2, which equally gives me 5. So this holds commutative property under natural numbers. So commutativity holds in natural numbers under addition. The same is the case with whole numbers. It holds the commutative property, and set of integers also holds the commutative property. Rational numbers holds the commutative property. Real numbers also hold the commutative property. So when I identify the different properties, I see that few sets hold certain properties and few sets do not hold the properties, strictly because of the way the sets are defined respectively. Now with properties under addition, which we have seen in the previous case for closure property, associative property, existence of identity, inverse and commutative property, similar are the properties which you're going to see even under multiplication. So let's start with the properties studied under rational numbers, because rational numbers are the base for all the sets of different numbers which we have discussed in the previous session. So when we see the first property under multiplication, the first property is closure property. Now in this case, I take two elements from Q, that is two numbers which belong to the rational numbers Q. Then my closure property says that A into B will also belong to Q. The operation here is multiplication denoted with dot. Next, when I see the next property, which is associative property, we know that associative property requires three basic elements. So let me take the three elements to be A, B, C belonging to Q. Now just whatever property we have discussed in addition, the same property holds here, but instead of plus, replaced with into or multiplication. So the property goes as A into B into C would be equal to A into B into C, which is associative property for three different elements belonging to Q. Next, and the third property which we have discussed is existence of identity Now identity is a very important property which, if we go with the recap, The same identity here also is equally important under multiplication. So when we understand the multiplicative identity, I just understand that if I take an element A belonging to Q, then whatever I multiply here must give back A. This is how the identity property is understood. So what should I multiply inside the bracket to get back A is what defines identity property. As we all know that A multiplied with 1 would definitely give me A. Therefore, in this case of multiplication, 1 is said to be the multiplicative identity or the identity under multiplication, which is nothing but 1 times of A. This is how the existence of identity is understood under multiplication in Q. Next comes existence of inverse. Now inverse holds only when identity holds. So assuming that 1 is already existing in Q, we go with the inverse property. Now inverse property says that if I have A belonging to Q and 1 belonging to Q, then whatever I multiply here must give back 1. So I should identify the element what I need to multiply in this bracket, which gives me 1. So what should come here is what is understood for inverse property. So I clearly understand that I need to have A inverse or 1 by A when I multiply to get 1. So for example, if I just simplify this, A times of 1 by A is called 1. So A times of 1 by A is equal to 1, but provided I assume with the condition that here A is not equal to 0. A is a non-zero element taken from Q. So this is how I cancel and I get 1. So 1 by A is identified as the multiplicative inverse of A under Q, under multiplication. So here 1 by A or A raised to minus 1 is the multiplicative inverse of A under multiplication. So this is existence of inverse using the multiplicative identity 1. Next, the next property is commutative property. Now commutative property in addition was A plus B equal to B plus A for all A and B belonging to Q. So instead of plus, we have multiplication here. So if I take two elements A and B belonging to Q, then my commutative property under multiplication states that A multiplied with B is equal to B multiplied with A. The operation here being multiplication. This is how the commutative property is identified. So these are the basic properties under multiplication, what we have discussed in similar fashion as for addition. The closure property, A dot B must belong to Q for all A and B belonging to Q. The associative property says that A times B times of C should be equal to A times B times of C. The existence of identity says that when I multiply 1 to any element of Q, I get back the original element. In that case being that 1 is the multiplicative identity. In the existence of inverse, when I take an element A belonging to Q and 1 already being the identity in Q under multiplication, then A times of 1 by A or A inverse gives me 1. Therefore, 1 by A or A inverse is called the multiplicative inverse of A. And the last property I have identified in Q under multiplication is for any two elements A and B belonging to Q, they commute. When I multiply A into B and replace the order and then multiply, I get back the same answer. That is how the commutative property is identified. Yes. Now in case, if suppose I change the operation from multiplication to division or subtraction, say my binary operation here is subtraction, then all the properties would be same, but instead of multiplication out here, I get minus. So if I wanted to define the closure property under subtraction, then what do? I take for A, B belonging to Q, A minus B must belong to Q. So if my binary operation is say division, then my whole property instead of multiplication is replaced with division. So A and B belonging to Q, A divided by B belongs to Q. And similarly, when I identify the associative property under subtraction, it is nothing but A minus B minus C must be equal to A minus B minus C. So it is the same property what we are studying in every case of whether it is multiplication or addition or subtraction or division. The only difference being that the binary operation is taken according to the definition what we consider out here. Now, when it comes to existence of identity, yes, there might be some property which defines to give back the original element. Then in that case, under subtraction, what should be subtracted here to get back the original element will define the identity. So definitely I understand that 0 is one element which always gives back A, because A minus 0 is always A. Therefore 0 is the identity under subtraction. So different operations change, and then different operations have different identities and inverse properties varying according to the operations. So these are the things which we must also understand in comparison to the addition or multiplication. But the most important operations which we are going to study in the present sessions are the multiplication and addition properties. Now all the four properties which we have identified here, we will try to recap with the different types of sets which we have discussed: the natural numbers, integers, rational numbers, real numbers, whole numbers, etc. So we'll see how all these operations are going to associate with each of the properties. So for that we should understand each of the property with respect to its respective binary operation, the operations being addition, multiplication, subtraction and division. So let's make a chart of and then see where it holds and where it does not hold. So for example, I take here all the binary operations minus, or I take the multiplication, subtraction and division, the four operations here, and then I take closure property, associative property, identity, inverse, and the last being commutative property. So let's make 5 columns. And study each of the binary operations with respect to this. And the basic sets which I'm going to consider here is the natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers and real numbers. So when I take the natural numbers, let me see if it holds under addition. Yes, I understand that you take any two natural numbers and add them, you get back the natural number. So it holds, natural number holds. So when I write here n, that means it holds for closure property under addition. Now when I take associative, yes, natural numbers hold under associative property under addition. Then identity under addition, it does not hold. Natural numbers do not hold identity property under addition. Can you tell me the reason? Yes, because 0 is the additive identity which we identify, but 0 does not belong to the natural numbers. So you can say, since 0 does not belong to n, therefore this does not hold identity property. Now inverse, no, natural numbers do not hold inverse property, because when there is no identity, the question of inverse does not exist. Inverse exists only when identity exists. Yes, and commutative property, yes, it holds under addition. The same way, if I wanted to identify for whole numbers hold closure property, associative property, it holds identity, but it does not hold inverse property, because you take any whole number, you wanted to find its negative additive inverse, it would be negative number. Say for example, I take 4 is a whole number, but if I take minus 4, which is the additive inverse of 4, does not belong to whole numbers, because whole numbers start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. Therefore, I do not have this holding, and then this holds. So same way, I would like to go for the next property, which is integers. Integers very much hold the closure property. They hold the associative property. They hold the identity property. They hold the inverse property. They hold the commutative property. Integers hold all the properties because they have the negative numbers and the positive numbers, including 0. Yes. Now in the same case, if I wanted to identify for rational numbers, yes, rational numbers also hold in each of the case. In each of the case, it holds. Even the real numbers hold all the properties under addition. So this is how I identify all the different sets holding all the different properties under addition. Then the same way, if I wanted to identify the similar properties under the respective sets for multiplication, we carefully study each of the sets under multiplication, taking into consideration each of the elements of each of the sets as defined respectively in their own means. Now in multiplication, yes, natural numbers hold the closure property under multiplication. Associative property is also very much true in every case of natural numbers taken here under multiplication. Identity, multiplicative identity is 1 and it very much belongs to natural numbers. Yes. But inverse property does not hold in natural numbers because every element A belonging to natural numbers, the multiplicative inverse is defined as 1 by A, which becomes a reciprocal. Say for example, I take 3 belonging to natural numbers. Its respective multiplicative inverse would be 1 by 3, which does not belong to n. And therefore, this is the reason why natural numbers do not hold inverse property, though they hold the identity property and very much holds even commutative property. Next, what about the whole numbers? Yes, whole numbers hold the closure property, associative property, existence of identity. Inverse does not hold, with the same reason being for as we have discussed in the natural numbers. So it does not hold here. Commutative property, yes. If I take integers, integers hold the closure property because you take any two elements and multiply them, you will get back an integer. Same is the case for associative property. Identity, yes, because 1 belongs to Z. And inverse, no. The reason being for these two cases is a similar case even for Z. You cannot have a multiplicative inverse of 3 as 1 by 3 in Z because Z has all non-fractional values. Commutative property very much holds in multiplication. When I take Q, yes, rational numbers hold closure property, associative property, identity, and no inverse. It holds commutative, but in this case, rational numbers do not hold inverse property only because of one particular element where the case fails. That is an exceptional case which makes rational numbers do not hold inverse property. If suppose I take 0 belonging to Q, 0 is a rational number. It is part of rational numbers. But if I want to find multiplicative inverse of 0, what is multiplicative inverse of 0? It is 1 by 0. So 1 by 0 does not belong to Q. It is an undefined value. It is an undefined indeterminate. It's an infinity. Therefore, in this case, 0 does not have multiplicative inverse, which fails. Next, similar is the case with real numbers. It holds, this one holds, this does not hold with the same reason as that of Q, and then this holds. Now multiplication and division are the properties which we practice in the same manner as that for multiplication and addition. The subtraction and division also equally have the same way of following, whether they follow the closure property or associative, identity, inverse or commutative based on the respective sets N, W, Z, Q and R. So this is how we understand, but out of this, the most important operations which we are going to discuss in the syllabus are the addition and multiplication. So the existence of all the 5 properties with respect to addition and multiplication are understood with this particular table, which makes us understand which set is holding the particular property and which set is not holding the property, including the reasons. Giving the reason for why it is holding and why it is not holding is very important than understanding just by whether it is holding or not holding. So these are the reasons through which I identify that few of the sets do not hold few of the properties and few of the sets do hold few of the properties, strictly based on their respective definitions. So next we are going to discuss on the number line representation, because the different sets and the different properties which we have discussed in the previous session are very much linked with the number line representation. Suppose I take any number I want to represent on the number line. So let's see what exactly is the number line and then see how a given value can be represented on the number line. So it is number line representation which is very important, and hence we will see how the number line representation is done for certain values. Say for example, I have 3 belonging to integers and I want to represent this on the number.